Welcome to Philosophy in Pajamas podcasts. Today we're getting into something really interesting about influence. Specifically, how just one short text message can basically flip a switch in your brain and completely recalibrate your whole intention for the day. It's like a command, but it's disguised as something nice.
That's a perfect way to put it. And we're going to unpack that using a really fascinating piece of writing where the author, Rushik, tracks that exact shift.
Mm.
So our mission here is to really dissect the mechanics of it all,
Mm.
the emotional leverage, the intentional language. We're following his journey from this state of total comfortable apathy
Mm-hmm.
to this incredibly focused desire.
And that starting point is so important, right? It's this perfect, honest baseline. He says he woke up feeling unfinished and unapologetic. His body, he says, had not agreed to ambition.
Ah,
I love that.
Ilfi.
It's that raw feeling, before you put on your face for the world. And that's exactly what makes him such a receptive target.
You're so right. He's totally unprepared. He's reaching for his phone, and he says it's the way a man reaches for truth before he learns how to lie to himself. It's a completely unguarded moment, which of course makes the psychological jolt so much more effective when it comes.
Okay, so let's get to the text itself. It seems so simple on the surface. It was. Don't forget today how special you are, Rushik.
But look at his reaction to just the delivery of it. He says the sentence did not arrive. It took position. I mean, that phrasing alone tells you everything. He saw it as an active force, not just a passive good morning.
Okay, but I have to push back on that a little bit. I mean, couldn't that just be a normal, enthusiastic text? People use 3 exclamation marks. Is he maybe just projecting this huge story onto a completely innocent kiss emoji?
That's a fair question, and he even asks it himself later on. But his initial analysis is that the composition was engineered, whether consciously or not, for maximum leverage. He actually breaks it down into 3 parts that make this a command, not just a suggestion.
Okay, so what's the first element? The name.
The personalization. Exactly. He notes that his name, Rushik, didn't just sit politely inside it. It's stretched. When someone uses your name like that, it gives the message weight. It demands you pay attention. It says, this isn't generic fluff. This is for you.
Right, it bypasses that filter we all have for junk communication, but then you get the real pressure, those triple exclamation marks.
Exactly. They aren't just enthusiasm. He calls them assertive pressure. He says they were pressing forward like they understood leverage.
Hmm.
Think about it. 1 exclamation point is nice. 3. 3 is an instruction. It's listen to me now.
And then the emoji, the sign-off. He called it not sweet, it was controlled.
And that control is the key. It's calculated. It's meant to stick with you, to be remembered hours later when hands are busy pretending to behave. It implies this whole power dynamic that you now have to carry with you all day.
The impact sounds almost physical. He says it landed immediately, not in my thoughts, lower, where decisions are made before language interferes.
And that's the whole psychological trick, isn't it? The best commands, or in this case affirmations, they don't target your rational brain. They go for that emotional preconscious center. They bypass all your defenses. He absorbed it.
And his reply pretty much sealed the deal. He texted back right away, "Thank you so much, I am writing about this today."
Which is so fascinating. It's not just polite. He's giving her access. He's telling her explicitly, you entered before the defenses were built.
Yeah.
He's acknowledging her timing, her accuracy. It was a brilliant move.
So, okay, he's absorbed the command, he's in this whole new mental state, and this brings us to the big shift in his mindset. Being reminded of his worth, he says, strips you of urgency.
This is the huge transformation. Urgency is that needy, frantic energy, right?
Yeah.
I have to prove myself feeling. This affirmation just erases that and replaces it with certainty.
And this is where the writing gets pretty provocative. He defines the state as certainty is erotic without effort.
It's a profound line because it connects confidence directly to magnetism. Urgency is repellent. It screams of lack. But certainty suggests abundance, competence. You aren't chasing an outcome. You just trust it's coming. That's what makes you magnetic.
So for you listening, how do you actually tell the difference? I mean, in your own life. How do you know if you're operating from urgency or from certainty?
Well, urgency makes you loud. You over-explain, you talk too fast, you're afraid of silence. Certainty makes you quiet. You choose your words, you trust the effect to land. The woman who sent the text, she gets this.
Right, she doesn't follow up with, "Did you get my text?"
Exactly. She trusts the effect. And that confidence transfers the power to him.
Which then shifts his whole mind from just, vague desire, what he calls fantasy, to something sharp and actionable.
Precisely. Fantasy is just daydreaming. But this feeling he gets, alignment, that's recognizing you already have what it takes to do the thing. His desire became intelligent. It made me exact, he says, not louder. The command worked because it narrowed his focus.
So it didn't just puff up his ego, it was targeted. It channeled his energy.
It's the difference between motivation and permission. Motivation is flimsy. Permission is deep. The text basically gave him permission to be the person she said he was.
And that readiness becomes physical, right? He
Yeah.
says his body finally agreed, and the feeling was readiness, not hunger.
Yes. The internal shift becomes an external one. When he finally stands up, he does it like someone already chosen. There's this quiet discipline to his movements because the internal validation is already there. He doesn't need an audience.
And that discipline leads right into his whole philosophy here, this idea of disciplined desire, which is the total opposite of being impulsive.
Intelligent desire is patient. It does not rush toward the skin. It studies breath. It learns rhythm.
Yeah.
It's about observation, about waiting, because you're not desperate for immediate gratification.
And this idea of patient pressure, I mean, that's the key technique for you, the listener, to really absorb here. Waiting until restraint becomes pressure and pressure becomes invitation.
That waiting builds tension. It makes sure that when you finally do act, it has the maximum possible impact. It's all about calculated patience. That's real influence.
He then gives this incredibly vivid example of it. If she were right there, he wouldn't touch her. He wouldn't say a word. He'd start with laughter, sit just close enough for the air to notice itself, and then he'd just let the silence thicken.
I mean, that communicates so much more confidence than rushing in, right?
Huh?
He's letting the environment just soak in the certainty she gave him. He says his mouth waits until waiting becomes impossible. That's peak intentionality, moving only when the moment absolutely demands it.
And it all comes back around to communication and power. He links language directly to the body.
It's the ultimate insight. He says, men who understand language understand bodies because both respond best to pressure applied patiently. Both are systems. Both rely on timing, rhythm, and restraint to work properly.
So he's heading out for his day, and he's basically carrying her sentence like something intimate beneath his clothes.
The focus is set. The world gets his competence, his productivity. But she already has my attention. That one text, delivered with such precision, just dictated his entire internal world for the day.
And then, just when you're completely sold on this whole intellectual framework, he pulls the rug out.
Yes, the self-correction. It's what makes the whole piece so honest. After all this profound analysis, he just stops and says, maybe. Maybe I took it too far.
He wonders if maybe she just meant, I am a kid born with some condition and I'm being encouraging. You know, there was just a sweet, simple text.
It's hilarious, but it's also so illuminating. He, the recipient, is the one who elevated it. He turned a nice message into this profound, strategic mandate, all fueled by his own mind.
So the twist doesn't actually undermine the analysis.
Not at all. It highlights the real lesson. The source of the power wasn't just the text. It was his own sophisticated internal machinery for processing it.
How quickly our own minds can take 3 exclamation marks and a kiss emoji and turn it into the defining arc of our day.
That's it. The power of affirmation is real. But it's that distinction between urgency and certainty that you should really walk away with. It's understanding that real intentional action, it requires a disciplined patience, not speed.
Absolutely. So think about that. What does your internal narrative turn a simple text into? Does it create urgency in you or certainty?
That's the question to sit with. Thank you for walking through that with me. It was a lot to unpack.
If you enjoyed this discussion and want more breakdowns on language, philosophy, and life, please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow Rushik on medium.com/crackraw to explore more of his writing.